At this point, our doll's a little bit distressed at being so bald, so we're gonna give her a wig cap. And how we do this, we need some plastic wrap. And also, I'm gonna use this tulle. You can use any kind of material, really. You could just use like cotton if you wanted to. But the idea is we're gonna make a cap out of this and glue it in place, having the saran wrap underneath it so it isn't actually glued to our doll. And so we're making this cap that we can then glue the wig hair to. If you want, you can just glue hair directly to your doll if you don't want to be switching wigs with her. And then you can just use the Great Hair Secrets book to learn how to do that. The first step is to put saran wrap over the doll's head, and you want it to fit as tightly as possible because this is where the wig cap is going to get its shape from. I'm doing an edge of the saran wrap here, and then I'm just using some painter's tape that is a masking tape that removes quite easily. I want it down a little lower in the back here. Anyway, she's not going to be pretty during this process, but this is to protect her scalp. And I'm going to straighten out this side and then add more tape across here. Try to get it fitting as tightly as possible. To get it fitting even tighter, you can use your heat gun to shrink wrap it, but you've got to just barely use any heat on it because this stuff responds so quickly. And in fact, I'll have to do mine over because I got it too much on the side and so it made a little hole. So I'll have to redo that off camera, and I'll catch you up when I've redone mine. But I was pleased with how it worked on this side. As long as I kept the gun far enough away that it didn't make holes, it did nicely shrink to the head. So we'll have a tighter fitting cap. It works best to cut out a small square of the saran wrap so there's not so much bunching going on. Okay, so here she is with the saran wrap in place, and now she's ready to have the tulle added, and I'm just going to be gluing it on, and I'll be using the Ultimate glue. You could use Aleene's tacky glue. You can use anything you want, just have it be a clear drying glue. The first piece I'm going to glue in place has pointed corners, and I've measured it from ear to ear across the top of her head, and this kind of goes down kind of like sideburns would, just a little bit. Then I'm just going to take some of my glue and put it on here, and you just kind of want to put it where you want the hairline to be, maybe a little bit above the hairline. And then I'm going to put the tulle on top, or whatever material you have chosen, and then keep gluing it. We'll end up having a few layers of glue on here, so it will make a nice firm cap. Okay. And then here, I've cut it smaller so there'll be as little buckling as possible. But there, you can see how that's going to fit nicely on our head. Then I'll coat this with another layer of glue. Then the next shape I'm going to use for the back of the head, so this will go around the nape of the neck here and then wrap around. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, just kind of a rough shape like this. So here we have the back of the head coated, and then we're just going to take this piece and then it'll just wrap around. You'll end up having a couple layers of tulle on here anyway, so it being exact isn't crucial, but as close as you can get to it not repeating where you don't intend, the better. Now here we can just either glue this straight down or cut it, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to just glue it straight down. And then I'll add another strip right here and then repeat the process, so we've got at least 2 layers of tulle all over the head. My doll had a little spot at the top of her head where she didn't have any tulle, so I'm just adding this little rounded shape to stick in to her. And then I'm using lots of glue. You just want to make sure that it's definitely flattened down everywhere. Looks like We got an issue up there. The sides you can trim later, so don't worry if it goes too far. You just want to make sure everything is as smoothed down as possible back here. And then we're going to let this dry until it's completely dry. I'll see what I can do speeding it up with a hairdryer, but probably overnight is what we'll have to do. On the second layer, I'm just varying the direction. I took a strip and went straight across the front again, and then I have, it's a strip that's rectangular shape that just goes from the top of the head back here. And what I'm going to do back here is then just take my scissors and trim around here and then glue it in place. Okay, so that's how my doll's looking. She's ready to let this wig cap dry now. And any of these parts that are poking up, I'm just going to watch as it's drying and kind of squish them down as the glue gets tackier. So it's a nice fit all over. And then what I did with mine as well is I took the Genesis heat gun to it and I had it on the cool setting, so it's just like a hairdryer. Did that for a couple minutes. I'm just showing you that it's not very tacky anymore, so that's nice. And then I also put it on the heat part because I know that this tulle netting is basically just a plastic. And so very carefully I just let it kind of warm up a little bit with the idea in mind that it's going to stay in this shape a little bit better if it's kind of melted into that shape too. Anyway, always be very careful when you're using heat so you don't burn anything. But now I think I'm going to go through and give her one more layer of glue and then just set her in front of a fan so it will speed up the process.